Yo, what's good? Today I'm gonna break down some of my art. I just picked out some of the works that I liked and I'm just gonna show you how I did them. Now bear in mind that they are not gonna be exact same because I did them time ago and I might not remember all the details. So let's start on the first one. This one I did for my latest sample pack. First of all, I got this picture, and where did I get it? From Pinterest. Bruh, if you don't have a Pinterest account and you're trying to make GFX, what are you doing? Like, there's so much inspiration and so much stuff to work with, it's crazy. You gotta get a Pinterest account and start saving pins. So I found this picture and I downloaded it. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did it because I have a PSD file, but I'm also gonna remake this file and I'm gonna show you everything you need for this. You need this picture from Pinterest. You need a paper texture, which you can get anywhere you want. Burnt paper texture. I use this glass from Dude Clay. I use this code sticker, Omnisphere sticker, and the red sticker. Now everything I use in my videos, I drop down in my Discord, so make sure you join the Discord to get all the elements. So on top of this picture, I added burnt paper texture. I inverted it, desaturated. I'm gonna show you how to do it later, and lightened it. Next thing, I added a black rectangle so that we have a place where to put the letters, and I added a paper texture which I inverted and desaturated on top of the black rectangle. Then I did the letters, and letters have a lot of details in them. I'm gonna show you how they look without the details. This is without. I copied these letters and put them just right below and made every one of them a little bit darker to make that 3D effect. And on the top layer I added a lot of effects. I added drop shadow, I added a little bit of red outer glow, I added darker inner glow to make it look kind of 3D, I added a little bit of the stroke and the bevel emboss to make it look even more 3D-ish. And in the end it looks like this. Next I added some details. I added this picture and kind of distorted it. I also added this bar and distorted it a little bit. I added this glass from Dude Clay, and usually you put the letters over this glass thing, but I put it under. I don't know why, maybe, but it looks kind of cool. It looks like it's inside a glass box. And I put the sticker to add the details on it. It reminds me of the vintage packaging where they have like a little rectangle where they put the details on. And lastly, I added these like the details about the sample pack, and I just distorted them to make it look vintage. So now let's make it from scratch. I moved the picture using Ctrl T. We're adding this texture and we're pressing Ctrl I to invert it. And then you go to image adjustment, hue and saturation. So we're making it darker and we're gonna put it as light. So the darker it is, the less visible it's gonna be. It's up to you how dark you want it to be. We hold shift and stretch it. Now we go over this bar and we press it as lighten. You also can put a screen. It's just your preference. Then you wanna add the black rectangle. You go over to the rectangle tool, and over that rectangle we're gonna put this paper texture. Hold shift to stretch it. Now we press Ctrl I to invert it, and again it's up to you how dark you want it to be. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna add a drop shadow to this rectangle so it looks like the picture is underneath this rectangle. How you do it is you right click on the rectangle, you go to blending options, and you go to drop shadow. Now you can play around with these settings. So now it has the effect of a 3D. Now we're gonna add the text. This is a free font called Old London. You can download it in my video about free fonts. Now we're gonna duplicate the letters by holding Alt. We're gonna Ctrl T and you hold Shift and press the arrow keys. We're just gonna press one time to the left and to the bottom. We're gonna make it a little bit darker and make sure that it is underneath. And now you duplicate it again, move it a little bit down and a little bit to the right, and you make it even more darker. So now to add effects to the letters, you press right click, blending options. You want to add some drop shadow. These settings are really up to you. You can just experiment and look what looks best. We're gonna add a little bit of red outer glow. Now we're gonna add a little bit of stroke. Now you can also play with the blend mode, because outline sometimes it looks really weird. So look what works best with you. Now lastly, we're gonna add bevel and emboss. And the settings here are crazy. I mean, you can make so much stuff with these settings. You can play around with this. You can change the colors, make some color overlays. So it's really, I don't remember how I did it. I cannot recreate exactly how I did it before, but I can show you in the PSD file. But play around with these settings and you can get the best result. So how I did it here, I used it as inner bevel, smooth, depth was full, size was 35, and I used this one, the first one, and you see the details, and it looks okay. Now you want to add the palette glass over it. If you hold Alt, the shape will move in both ways. And if you feel like your shapes or letters are not in the middle or not the right way, you can press Ctrl A, and here you can change it. Press Ctrl D to deselect. Now we're gonna add some stickers. Press Ctrl I to invert the picture. Now go to this polygonal lasso tool, not the magnetical, this one. You either can select the stuff that you want and press on this mask, and it will work like that. Or you can just choose what you don't like. You hold Ctrl and press, and it will connect. And you press Ctrl X to get rid of it. Now we press screen to get rid of the black color, and we're gonna cut it again. We're also gonna add this sticker. And how to distort them, the way I did it, you right click and go to blending options, and you play with these settings. They kind of delete the colors of the background and the exact picture. I don't really know how it works, but you can play around with it. Also, if your picture is getting distorted too much and you want it more smooth, you hold Alt and it will break up this little tool and it will disappear much more smoothly. Now we're gonna add this sticker to add the details to. And you can put any text here, such details as 20 samples in the style of Wheezy and Qbeats and anything. And I distort them the same way I did with the stickers. Now a cool thing to do if you post your sample packs to YouTube, you can make a file 1920 by 1080. You can put your original picture from the sample pack, make it bigger, go to filter, blur, and you can blur it any way you want. Now add your artwork and make it a little bit smaller, and go to blending options and add a little drop shadow. And there you go, a cool effect for your YouTube video. Now the next artwork is going to be this one. This artwork was inspired by Studio Ina's picture, and I also was inspired by Rico. He did an artwork which was similar to Studio Ina's. So for this artwork you don't really need much except the letters, and you need the glass shapes. If you don't know anything about glass shapes, I have a whole video on that, you can check it out. In this artwork, very important is the idea, simplicity, and the textures. The details inside this, I really was focusing on the details, on the textures of the text. So first of all, you add the paper texture, you hold Alt and Shift, stretch it. Now we're gonna add one letter T in Gothic style. The font is the same Old London. We're gonna press Ctrl A, we're gonna middle it. Now we wanna disappear of some of the connections, like here. And how do we do it? We go to Filter, Noise, Median. What median do is kind of weird, I don't know, it kind of smooths out all the lines to the point if you put it as too much, it it will make your artwork literally disappear. So you should choose the amount you like visually. I like them where they barely connect, but it's still visible that it's a letter T. Now, to make your letter kind of disappear into nothing, you have to export it and you have to make it black. Now you want to export it, so get rid of the paper texture and just have a blank white background, and you export this picture. You go to File, Export, and export it. So now you're in a new project and you just add the picture of the letter T that you exported, and now we have to add a lot of textures to get rid of some of the parts of the letters. I just put a lot of film copies. They kind of smoothly make it disappear. You can choose lighten or screen, and you see it start to get lighter at the bottom. So once we export this picture, we're gonna get rid of the light colors. This white background will disappear, and a lot of this light part will also kind of smoothly disappear, which is leaving the top part visible. And we're gonna change the top part to the red color, so the down will be barely visible. So now the bottom is starting to blend in into the background, and we're gonna export this picture. We're going to add our edited picture, and we're gonna add the solid color that you want the letter to be underneath this picture. We go to this button and solid color. You put it underneath the picture, and you put the picture as screen or lighten, any that you want. So now you see the letter kind of smoothly disappears, and we're gonna export this picture again and put it into our main project and get rid of this white background. Now you can get rid of the old layer, you add the picture and you add the paper texture beneath it, and you put the picture as multiply to get rid of the white background. Now to get the effect that it's painted on this texture, you right click and you go to blending options. You hold Alt to break this option. Now it looks like it's really on the texture. Another effect to make it look realistic you can do is displace the picture, and it will distort the picture to get rid of these clean outlines. And for that you need to make another project and put the texture inside of it. I don't really know what matters in this effect. I think the more scratches your texture has, the more it's going to distort the picture. And for a better effect, you can up the contrast in the picture. You go to Image, Adjustment, Brightness and Contrast. Now you made it a little bit more contrasty, and you save it as a PSD file. You can name it as Displace. Now you go back to your artwork, Filter, Distort, Displace, and you use your PSD file. Now you see it's distorted a little bit, but I want it to be distorted a little bit more. So I'm gonna do it again with a different texture. Now it's really distorted. Now you want to add some little details. And for details, in my opinion, Free Sans or Helvetica or any of these straight fonts are the best. You can also add some random letters to make it look like it's a real product. Now what we're gonna do to the letters, we're gonna make an ink bleed effect, and I have a whole video explaining how to do that. So if you want to know more about it, check that video out. We're gonna get rid of our artwork, and we're going to Filter, Blur Gallery, Fill Blur. I want to make my zeros completely disappeared to make it look like the ink just flooded the number 0. Now again, I have a whole video on this effect, so if you want an in-depth explanation, watch that video. Now that we blurred the letters, we go to Adjustment and we go to Threshold. You can play around with these settings and you see how letters start to become realistic. Now we can put a film copy texture over the letters to make them that grayish look. And once you're done, you can export this picture and put it back into your project. Now you can hold Ctrl and group all these letters, and you can delete them at once. Now you bring back your artwork and you add the letters. You hit multiply to get rid of the white color, and you see they look realistic. For even more realistic look, we're gonna lower the opacity, but we're gonna add a very little amount of median, and we're gonna add a very little amount of ripple. Let's go with 25%. What ripple does, it's barely visible because there's so many effects on them, but ripple makes the lines a little bit wobbly, so it looks like it's real paint. Now lastly, we're gonna add the overtone text, and you can do all the same effects that we did on the letter T and on the letters to these pictures. Now you finished, all you need to do is add the glass textures. And how you add the glass textures, I have a whole video on glass shapes where I explain the effect, and I also have a pack of glass shapes ready made for you for free, so make sure to check that video out. Now this next artwork is very simple. You just need to make this black rectangle shape, and you can put any picture inside it, and you can put any text inside it. First of all, we're gonna make a square. We're gonna get rid of the fill, and we'll just add a black outline. Make sure your square is in perfect middle. You go to Ctrl A and you press these. Now if you want to change the width of the line, you go to Properties. I'm gonna put it this. Now next we're gonna add another rectangle for the letters, and you can make it as big as you want. You can put it even in the middle. So now that you have this shape, all you need to do is put any picture inside it. If you want to make a sample pack for yourself or for somebody, you can just send them a lot of pictures and they will choose the picture that they really like, and then you just add it inside the shape. I chose this picture, and you want to make it black and white. Now you go to Adjustments and Curves, and here you can adjust how much shading and how much highlights you want it. You can make it completely black and white, or you can make it just a little bit darker. This is a Qualigo font, which is also free and also in my pack of 33 fonts. Check it out. Now we're gonna add bevel and emboss to these letters to make them metallic, and you just put both of these as black and play around with how much you want the metallic look. You can add a lot of stickers like barcodes. I use this silver sticker from Dude Clay's pack, but basically with this bevel and emboss effect, you can make any picture silver. The bevel and emboss effect works on stickers as well. So there you go, the art is done. You can just group it holding Control. Now you can hold Alt and duplicate it, convert it to a smart object, and you can add some effects to the whole picture, such as some noise or any effects that you want. Grouping the whole project and copying and making it into a smart object is very useful if you want to make some changes. So for example, to change a smart object is kind of difficult, but if you made a copy, you can just delete it and go back to your old project. It's very useful and I recommend it. The last one is the art that I made for my first sample pack, and I bought a Dude Clay GFX kit, which comes with a template already made. So I just put the picture inside it and added the text, and it was done. But it's easy to make on your own. All there is a picture, a glass shape, letters, couple of stickers, and the main texture on the picture. So we added the picture and it looks too clean, so we want to add some textures to it. You can use any texture to it. If you look, the texture is too bright, and that is the deal with most textures, that the artwork looks best when the texture is visible but it's not on 100% opacity. 100 opacity makes it look a little bit unrealistic, so we're gonna drop it a little bit. And this artwork is very nice. I like the detail that this shine, it looks like the finger is touching the slide. Now we're gonna add the glass shape. We're gonna add some stickers. And the last thing to do is add the text. The font name is Auto Attack. It's a free font and I included it in my 33 fonts pack. Now I want to add a little bit effects to the text to make it look like this color. Now it's done, and what I usually do to my artwork is I add some noise and I play around with colors, adding a little bit of saturation, maybe making it lighter or darker. This was more of a complex tutorial. You know, we have some complicated art like this, a lot of details here, and more simplistic like these. So hopefully I catered to everyone and you learn something new. If you have any problems, you can comment down below, I will answer you, or you can DM me on Instagram, I always reply. Hope you guys like the video.